In this video, we're going to go over what documents or forms are needed to file an uncontested divorce in Alabama. Particularly in this video, I'm going to go over Etowah County, and we're going to cover an uncontested divorce, particularly with kids. When we have kids, there's extra documents that we have to fill out. So here we go. Let's get started. The first document that you'll have to fill out is here. This is called a complaint for divorce. A complaint for divorce is the document that begins the divorce. It is sent to the court to let the court know I am now filing for a divorce. Here you have to fill out all the plaintiff's date of birth, social security number, address, the same for the defendant, which would be your spouse. So that's the first document, is the complaint for divorce. The next that we're going to have is an answer to the divorce complaint, and that is where the defendant acknowledges, or your spouse acknowledges, you're suing for divorce. You agree for them to go forward with the final decree to get the actual divorce without you showing up. And generally we'll have something here where you acknowledge that the attorney for the plaintiff does not represent you. Which, if you're doing this yourself, if you're filling out the divorce yourself, that won't be necessary here. The next is what's called a deposition or testimony. A lot of times courts, or before COVID, courts would make you come to court and basically say to the judge what we would say is jurisdictional testimony, that you're over the age of 19, that you were that you lived in the state of Alabama the last 6 months. Basically, the court was just trying to put eyes on you to make sure you're a real person and that no one just forged your signature or anything like that. But now with this deposition, you're signing it under oath in front of a notary, and that counts as your testimony under oath. All right, next, your fourth document that you'll need is a final judgment of divorce, and this is the document that the judge will sign that will actually divorce you. Okay, this says here, you'll read that the bonds of matrimony, so the marriage is dissolved, that you can't get married for 60 days, that the costs are taxed as paid, so there's court costs involved. It determines who pays that, and then the agreement of the parties is made a part of this order. Okay, so that's the judgment of divorce. Next is your settlement agreement. This is the document where you lay out the distribution of assets and debts, alimony, also child support, custody, and visitation. That will be what you lay out here in your settlement agreement. As part of your settlement agreement, if there's kids, you're going to need a visitation schedule to lay out exactly what times are each parties. You might put in holidays, summers. You might incorporate what your work schedules are. Next, we have parenting clauses. These are things such as how often you're going to talk to your kids, whether that's the kids calling you, you calling the kids, whether there's overnight guests allowed with romantic partners while the children are there. Just basically regular old, what I would call parenting clauses. Here's the relocation statute. Understand, anytime you have kids, you've got to have the relocation statute as part of your order or part of your agreement. Next is you've got the child support forms. Each party will have to file what's called a CS-41, which is an income affidavit. So this is your income affidavit where you tell the court what your income is. You've got to do this no matter whether you guys agree that there is child support or whether there's not child support. Both parties have to be informed of what child support would be if you went by the guidelines. And so this is the first form, which is an income affidavit, where you let the court know what your income is. This is the same for the other party. They'll do the same. Next is the CS42 worksheet. And this one is actually the one that we used before May 1st of 2022. Beginning in May 1st of 2022, there's a new form that you'll use, and you can get that off eforms.alabama.gov, and then click on child support, and then you'll go to eForms, and you'll fill that out, and that lays out what your guideline recommendation is for child support. This is your CS43. This is where you have to acknowledge what child support would be by the guidelines and also what you actually agree. Then if you deviate from the guidelines, you've got to explain to the court why. And that's the CS43. Next is the CS47. And you've got to fill this out whether there's kids or not. And this is what we would call the child support information sheet. And it just lets basically DHR know, or the Child Support Disbursement Center know where you guys work, what your social security numbers are, things like that, so that they can put it in their database to know whether the child support is being paid. Another form you'll have to fill out is, I forget the name of it, but it's automatically generated if you do it. The vital statistics form is what it is. Vital statistics form is for demographic information. That'll be automatically generated if you e-file. If you've got any other questions about this, let me know. You know how to get in touch with me through my website.